AITA for writing something in my journal to expose that my wife was reading it? I am M29 and my wife is F28. She is 5 months pregnant. I have a journal that I write in occasionally. My wife knows I have one and I have told her it's private. I don't have any big secrets. But it's a private space for me to write out some thoughts and give me time to think. A week ago I started to suspect that my wife was reading my journal. I had written that it would be nice to see a friend again because we hadn't seen each other in over 2 years. The next day my wife asked me about how that friend was doing and if we were planning on meeting up anytime. I found that a bit coincidental. Then I started thinking back on some other coincidences, such as my wife getting me something relatively obscure for my birthday that I had written about. I wanted to be absolutely sure, so last night I wrote a fake thought that my wife was gaining too much weight in pregnancy and becoming unattractive. She's not. She's fit and fine. That sounds harsh, but I wanted to write something that 100% was fake and I never had said or implied, or something my wife would just ignore. Well, today I went out to get groceries and came home to my wife crying. I asked her why and she said she can't believe I thought she was overweight and unattractive. I asked her where she heard that and she threw my journal at me. I asked her why she was reading my journal that she knew was private. She said that's not the point. The problem is what I wrote. I told her the whole point was for me to catch her reading it, and now I know she does. She called me an asshole and said I need to apologize. By this time I was pretty mad, so I said I will never apologize for anything I wrote in my journal. And she needs to realize that she is the only one who did something wrong, otherwise we have bigger problems in our relationship. She wanted me to leave the house but I refused, so she is staying at her sister's now. I am committed to holding my line and not compromising. But I am still angry, so AITA? Edit. There are a ton of comments misconstruing what I meant and why I wrote it, so I want to clarify. 1. I do not find my wife fat or unattractive. Point 2. I did not write that in my journal just to insult her. Point 3. I did not know that she was going to read my journal. I had suspicions, and the point of writing it was to see if she was reading my journal or not. NTA. Pregnancy or not, there is absolutely no excuse for reading someone's journal. Were you too harsh? Maybe. The point still stands. There is no excuse for invading your privacy like that. Also, I want to ask all the Esh people, if the roles were reversed, would you still say Esh? NTA. She violated your personal space on more than one occasion. It was a little gnarly to write what you did in order to expose her. You could have written something else. But I'm on your side here. AITA. Screeching, enforce boundaries. Red flags. Divorcee. OP. Implements plan to confirm boundaries being crossed. AITA. Not like THAAT. Dysfunctional. LMAONTA. Play stupid games. Win stupid prizes. But your wife is definitely going to take this more personally than you probably intended. Hindsight is 20/20. You should probably apologize for specifically making it about her weight, but that also doesn't rule out a conversation about why she shouldn't have been reading your journal in the first place. NTA. But you maybe could have fabricated something that would have crushed her less. I adore my wife, and if those words or thoughts ever left my head, it would completely crush her. Maybe you could have put something in there about how you pulled some money out of your 401k and gambled it on a football game and lost almost $20,000. Something she would have trouble figuring out without speaking to you about it. NTA. But I would have chosen something different. Like, ever since she's reached this trimester, her cooking has been completely off and terrible. It's like she can't taste anything. Or, I don't know what is happening but JFC. My wife smells awful. Saying your wife is fat even after telling her it was a trap to expose her for reading your journal. Wasn't a smart move. Lol. NTA. But what you wrote was really stupid. I almost feel like a clown defending you in the comments. But overall she was not respecting your privacy, which is quite a huge deal. Just, why did you have to write that? NTA, you specifically told her that it was private and she clearly continuously went behind your back to read it. NTA. Testing people being wrong is one thing. It's another for them, despite being caught in being wrong, that they double down and try to project that you're somehow wrong and still responsible for their wrongdoing. Your wife did a double wrong. As someone who is pregnant, if my husband had a journal and asked me not to read it, the very least I could do is respect that. Regardless of how curious I am about his thoughts and feelings. The journal is a private, safe place to express thoughts and feelings that otherwise would stay bottled inside. I feel bad that Op's wife didn't respect that. Op didn't ruin their marriage. She did when she broke his trust, violated his privacy and ignored his boundaries. If Op chooses to, therapy for both parties, both couples and individual, may be beneficial. This relationship isn't dead but definitely needs help. I did this once. I wrote something and mentioned someone in my entry. Someone I never brought in conversation prior. I went to the bathroom and 5 minutes later said person was brought up in conversation. I didn't really feel comfortable writing after that. Maybe you could have used something less hurtful to find out? Just IDK, still NTA, but she's gonna believe you think that now, and IDK if that's worth it. NTA. I don't understand the YTA or ESH comments. Spouse or not, you are entitled to having your private thoughts. For some people, it's the same as therapy. Unless invited to a therapy session, no one under any circumstances should feel entitled to your personal thoughts. Did none of you have a sibling or diary growing up? Yeah, he tricked her and wrote something he shouldn't have because he knew she was reading it. That's beside the point, though. She shouldn't have looked and he told her it was private. Pregnancy doesn't give her an excuse. Oof. I'm going with NTA. That being said, I think you could have chosen something other than her weight, which might be a sensitive area during pregnancy. I get what you were going for. Something you knew she would confront you. However, she is in awe. You asked for privacy regarding something very personal and she repeatedly violated it and has absolutely no remorse for her behavior. Instead, she is playing the victim card. All she has managed to do is prove that she is not trustworthy. If there is no trust and respect in a marriage, then there is no marriage. NTA. This is a classic fake bait to expose the wife's breach of trust. Could you have gone with better bait? Maybe. But you could have gone evil and wrote down lyrics to a song that never gets out of your head. She doesn't get to play victim card here when she was wholly in the wrong in the first place. Also reverse the genders and how many ESHs would go NTA. For that alone, I go NTA. Don't like what you find in someone else's private diary? Maybe don't read it and respect their privacy? NTA. She should have never read your journal, period. No matter what you wrote. It was private and none of her business. The fact that people are saying you are Ta shows how this forum is so full of hypocrites. None of those calling you Ta would be fine with anyone reading their journal where you write your intimate thoughts. Your wife betrayed your trust deeply and then tried to blame you. It is going to take a lot of work and therapy for her to regain your trust. You did nothing wrong. You wrote in your personal property. If she is unwilling to put in that work, you will never trust her again and your marriage will fail. Because of that distrust and disrespect. NTA. She was invading your privacy and knew she was. And yet she had the audacity to tell you to apologize after she got caught. She needs to realize she is the only person in the wrong. NTA. Your wife is. I feel like claiming $10K in gambling debt would have been a better gamble than my pregnant wife is. Fat. NTA. She invaded your privacy. You did it to catch her out. And it worked. She was in the wrong. And is the one that should be apologizing. NTA. And your wife has no excuse. The point is that she violated your trust. You don't owe her an apology. She is not the victim. She owes you an apology. And a concrete solution on how she plans to ensure that you feel safe to journal without her violating your trust again. Hypothetically, even if you meant what you wrote, the point of a journal is to express, dump thoughts and emotions. Having to filter your journal in fear that someone might invade your privacy totally takes away the therapeutic factor of journaling.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.